morning. Yesterday I was asked to do a Celtic circle. I've got to adjust my camera real quick. Hold on. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing. Okay. A Celtic knot circle. So, or circle border, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, I will have to tell you that this has given me a couple of fits this morning. But I think I have it under control now. So let's give it a go. I'm also learning this one. I have done Celtic knots, but I have never done them in a circle. And for whatever reason, my brain is having a really difficult time comprehending this morning. It could be due to lack of coffee that I can no longer drink. So I've gone from 4 cups a day to 0 cups a day. I'm thinking maybe if I just make a cup and smell it, it might help. Maybe not. So anyway, today's list of supplies: piece of paper, whatever paper you want to use, whatever one you like. This is watercolor paper because it's what I had laying here. A compass. It doesn't matter what size you want to use or what kind you want to use. I mean, I have one that's like giant I could use. This is my favorite one. I have 4 or 5. They all do the same thing. They're all made to make a circle. We need a protractor, or if you're really good at math, you can just use the ruler to divide this evenly. I'm not, so I'm going to use one of these. I'm using my number 1 Unipin, my favorite. I am using my Faber-Castell eraser. It is black. It says dust free. Not necessarily dust free. What it does is rolls the dust all together so that you just get these great big pieces and you just get rid of those. And it will not make marks on your paper. So that's handy. I'm using my Graph Gear number 7. You can use any pencil you could use any pencil you want with this. It doesn't have to be technical. I'm using my draft and cut ruler. I love this ruler. It makes ruler using easy. So I will put links to all of that in the description. So you're going to make a circle. The size of the circle doesn't really matter. The part that matters the most is getting these lines, all your lines, even. That's the part that matters the most. It's easier to do this. I did one with wide lines, and no, it didn't work very good. So what you want to do is draw your circle and then put your crosshairs in, and then you're going to take this and you put it over the center, and you have lines on the edge here, these little lines. So you want to line this very first one up on the crosshairs, and your center one down here with this one. So put it there and get them lined up. And then what I'm using for this is there's like big lines, and then there's in the middle of each one is a short line. So I'm not sure if this is measured in inches. I don't think it is. I'm looking to see on my ruler over here. I think that's more like 1/2 inch right there. So tall line to tall line, 1/2 inch. So this would be your 1/4 inch. We're going to use the 1/2 inch marks on mine. My circle I made is a diameter of about 3 3/4. So you want to open your protractor your compass to 3 3/4 stick it in the center, stick it there, and just make the circle. And that's how you figure out the circumference of your circle. And then you're going to put this on here, get it lined up. And once you do, just hold it down. And then go here and you're going to make 1/2 inch marks on your paper. I like to go all the way around the circle with the marks so that I can line them up with the ruler. Some people are brave enough to do 1/2 and then line it up. I'm not those people. So I do it that way, and then I turn it around and line it up again with your 1/2 inch marks. Make sure you get everybody nice and straight. And then make your marks around this side too. And it is important to get each one of those lined up right so that you're all lined up on the next step. So I've got it on the other side. And then you're gonna take your ruler, and for me, I like to start right next to that line so that I know which direction to go. And then you're just gonna make your marks all the way around your circle. To save some time, I did that already. So this is what you're left with. Now, you're going to take your compass. There is another tool for this. I forget what it's called. It looks just like this, only it doesn't have a pencil. It just has 2 points. So, you can also do it with this. What we're gonna do is measure that 1/2 inch. Another thing you could do, because you know this is 1/2 inch, you could just measure down your line here 1/2 inch and then make another circle. But we're going to be technical. So you're going to measure that, and then what you do is you turn this way and you line it back up right there and you make your mark. And then you want to line it here and make your mark. So it doesn't really look like it's exactly where I want it. It needs to be a square. So let's try one more time. Whoops. For me, it's easier to do this. Put the pencil there, put the mark there, and then mark it. And then take my pencil and so it was just a little bit high. So then you take your compass again, open it up, back up, stick your pin in the center hole you used earlier, and open this to that mark that you had there. And make a circle in here. You need this to be you need these marks, these spaces to be pretty square. So now we're going to, this is where if you have that other tool, it saves you some time, because then you can not have to open and close your compass every time. Now you want to line this one up with this mark right here, and then you're going to do the same thing, turn it again, and use your little point there to make a mark on your paper. I don't even know if you can see where that is. It's right here, if you can't. And then you're going to do another circle. So your preparation for this is a little bit time consuming, but it does make it a whole lot easier to do in the end when you have it all. There you go. Now, those are all square. The other tool looks a lot like the end of this without the pencil, where you have just points, and then you can measure it like this, which this one probably would have been easier to use, and then you just turn it like this, And as you can see, point to point, they're the same. Okay, next step. On all the connections of this, you want circles. So, drawing your circles. And you can do it this way. You can do it each row all the way around, however you want to do it. That's up to you. All this will get erased, so you have to have 2 rows to do this. So if you wanted to continue, boy, down here would be really hard, but you could do another 2 rows here and make it a wider one, and if you're brave enough, you can go all the way down. I don't think I'm that brave this morning. While we're doing this to save time, you technically also want a circle here and a circle here. And that feels really large. I don't want it that large. So you also need those to kind of eyeball them and line them up. I promise in the end, all of this will make sense. So, I'm just gonna spend a minute here and get all of our circles. These don't have to be perfect. This is just kind of, these are guides. This is kind of like the step in Huggins where you make the dots. This to me feels like a combination of Huggins and basket weave. To do this Celtic knot. And this can kind of be, if you can figure out how to go from a circle to a square, then you can just carry this same exact thing over and do it on a square. This would be easy to do on a piece of graph paper as a square. So that's how you would just lay it out as a graph. I was going to go ahead and do this step, but I didn't want it to be too confusing when we turned it over. If I had turned that over and you'd seen all these circles and stuff, it would have been overwhelming for a minute. Maybe we need to make our next weekly challenge a circle Celtic knot border with a gem in the middle and then some tangling. So you can make a circle here and do a gem and then tangle down to it. So maybe that's what we'll do. We'll see. Okay. Now, I'm sure you can see these little notes over here that I have. You probably can't see my notes over to the side where I have a guide for myself. So now we have to connect all of these dots. So what you're going to do is you want to break this down to squares. And we're going to start going around the center. So we're going to do it just like this. So you're going to do the insides of each circle opposite directions. And you want to break it down into squares. So here's your square right here. This is where we're going to start. So it's going to go this way. And then this way. And then this way. And then this way. And then this one right here will be this way. So it's just going to be opposite. So this one would be this way. And you want to make this row right here inside each of those. So this one is going to go here, and this one is going to go here. I don't know why I'm having so much problems with this morning. This is the third one I've made. This is the third video I've made. I don't want to do this row yet. I just want to stay here. So, here and here. I feel like I'm not doing something right. This just isn't making sense to me this morning for whatever reason. Okay, before I get going too far. Yes, I also have these problems. If you would see the stack of papers next to me that are mess ups, no, those lines aren't straight. Sort of, kind of. If you feel like it's off, it's better to just stop where you are and then start over. So we're going to go, let me look at it a minute. Get back to where my thing is here so it will make sense to me. So this is going to be our starting spot right here. So inside, I thought I had it there for a minute. There we go. There it is right there. So then this one will go this way. And then this way. It's the basket weave, and once you get it, then you get it. So this way. And then this one goes this way. It's just so many circles on here that it starts to get really, really confusing. No. That is not right. Really confusing. Okay. Well, this one goes here. 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 Just stick with that row right there. That one's making sense. So we'll just stick with it. And then we'll come back and we'll get the other ones. Like I said, once you find it, once your eye sees it, then you can just go pretty quickly around. And then once you see this, then you can start seeing the rest of it. Just take your time to figure out this part of the pattern and then start over if you have to. Not a big deal. This is a much easier thing to do square than it is circle, because you're doing this weird angle here. And for some reason that throws my eyeballs off. It's easier if you just do like I'm doing right now, just do 2 rows at a time and then go back, and it should make sense when you go back. And pick up those other ones. That one got a little, oh, I see what it is. Do you see what I did there? I missed that one. It really doesn't make sense when you miss a circle, so make sure you've got all your circles in there. Oh, and make a big mess out of it. Now technically when I come around here this should meet up. Does it mean it will? Not necessarily. Okay. Now you want to do these. So for this one, you're just going to do like this every other one. So, and you're going to stay on the inside of these circles, just like this. This is probably going to throw me off again because I have done it backwards to the way I did it earlier. Earlier I had it going this way. That's okay. I see it. I see the big picture now. Are you starting to see how it's gonna go? Do you love this CD? I got this. If you're in the States and you have Walmart, they used to have, in their candle section, they used to have these little CDs with like meditative music, and this was one of them I found. It was a 2 CD set, and something has happened to my first CD, so this is the second in the set. And I have looked and looked to replace it, and I cannot find it. I don't think they even have that little, it used to be this little thing that hung like hung on the aisle, like sometimes you find all those little gadgets hanging there. Okay, so now we're back at the beginning. So this is what you should have. Now you're going to make the rounded parts. So it already kind of looks like that. So at the top, you're going to round that one. And you're going to round this one to the inside. This piece comes up and goes this way. So you're just going to round each one of these. And kind of make a elbow there. This one. And I kind of like the exaggerated big come out there outside the circle. But if you don't want to, you could just kind of make a little even one there. And you kind of want them to line up with this, and this one with this. And this would also be very beautiful to do these 2 rows and then make several circles in here and do your mandala art in there. So once you finally get the center part all figured out, then the edges make sense too. It's just getting your brain to see a basket weave at a different angle. And mornings for my brain are not always good. And see, I kind of like how this is instead of that one, but if you want that nice gentle, just a little bit, you can make it that way. Definitely, it's your art. You make it how you like it. So now we're going to go down here and you're going to do the same thing, so but a different direction. So you're going to work with this line right here and go. So this one gets rounded. See, I had to stop and think there. And this one goes up, just like this. So this one gets rounded, and this one goes in there. Over here. Okay, so again, we're going to go over this with your pen in a minute. So that's where you can kind of line things up. And then we'll just get rid of all this pencil. I am drawing really heavy-handed. Usually when I use my pencil to lay stuff out and then go over it with my fine liners, I don't lay my pencil out this heavy because your fine liner kind of acts funny over the top of the pencil marks. But I will show you a trick in a minute. If you make the dark ones, sometimes I do because I'm either frustrated or I don't know why this particular piece right here has made me like really push my pencil down. I must be aggravated. But there are ways to fix that. It's not that my fine liner doesn't cover the pencil, it just kind of turns it kind of a gray color. It like picks up the pencil mark, and so it has kind of a gray tint to it that I don't like. And as you can see, I'm going back up there because I find that that helps me make that line connect. I did something here that doesn't go there. That's okay. We just go back and fix it. Okay, and there you have it. All tied together into a Celtic knot. And then we're going to go over that with our pen. I have a kneadable eraser here. As you can see, it is well used, but the thing about it is, if you pull it apart like this and you keep pulling it, it will clean itself off and you won't have all those pencil marks. I thought I had a whole one somewhere, but I'm not sure where it is, so I can't show you. But it's just a kneadable eraser, and yes, I will put that in the description. Then you want to flatten it out like this. This one has been so used, but it's so... sometimes you buy them and they have like this crust on the outside when you take them out of the package, and they're just really not usable. This one has been nice and soft the whole time. So if you do this and you have heavy marks that you don't want so heavy when you go over them, take this. It's kind of like, remember Silly Putty? It's kind of like Silly Putty. And it will pick up the pencil and just make it lighter. And then it's more of just a guideline. So, and if it stops doing it, it kind of has to have a little bit of a sticky feel. So you can just knead it some more and then. So if you've never used one of these, it's a great little tool to have. If you guys could see my desk, I have all these little things laying on the sideline because I use them on a daily basis. So, yeah, if you can see, it's a lot lighter than this over here. So now you just want to take your Fineliner, and this is where you want to be a little bit more careful with your lines. And now we're not worried about the background lines and the little circles as much as we are these lines. And this is where you can kind of straighten these out. And when you do this over here, see, I want this to match right here. So your pencil lines won't matter so much in the end. Now see, this line and this line don't match up at all, but I want them to. So when I do the pen line here, I'm gonna correct that problem. So you want to start this one here, and it might look a little weird, but you're gonna move this one over here so that it lines up. This is where you make it neat art. The beginning parts are just getting a layout. It's just a suggestion. You do not have to like go back in and follow the line exactly. Well, this one's kind of at a weird angle, but we'll fix her. So this one goes there. If you take the time to line your lines up, it will look better in the end. Because then it will look more like it's actually braided together. When you erase all the pencil, then it'll be nice and neat. This one needs to go this way. Now, if you wanted to, you could go in here. It depends on how you want it to look. You can go back in and just color all these in, or you can leave them white like that, and where you can see the background part of it. And if you had if you were doing this on a colored piece of paper, then you might want to leave that so that it looks like the paper's behind your art. And all my bottom ones seem to have been really narrow, so I'm having to really move them over. I don't know why I did that, but this line seems to line up pretty good, but that other line is way down here, and it probably has something to do with my circles, I would imagine. But we're just gonna fix it. I wear glasses full time, all the time. I can't see anything if I don't have my glasses. But when I do my artwork, I don't wear my glasses because I need to get down in there and see what I'm doing. And now some of these, I have a line up there, but that's okay. If I was doing this for a piece for sale, it would be a whole lot neater than that. So if you really want to, when you're laying this out, then you could take the time to make sure all your little lines line up. Excuse me. Boy, do I need that coffee. And you do kind of want the top wider because obviously it's bigger, and the bottom you want it to be narrower. And if you were one of the brave ones and you added 2 more lines, then down here's going to be really tight together. But still try to take the time to line up those lines so that this looks like it's just one piece of string or leather or whatever it is you're making yours out of, and make sure your lines match. So that is kind of important in these Celtic knots, to make sure that it is one continuous thing. Even if you have to cut off some of the other one, like I just did. I've always been a huge fan of Celtic knots. I think they are just absolutely beautiful. I really have been a fan of all things Irish from, I can't even tell you how old I was when I started loving all things Irish. I want to go to Ireland someday. That is the very top of my bucket list of things to do in my lifetime. I'm not sure if I will accomplish that. I had to make that kind of wonky because I put that line in first, so don't do that. Don't get ahead of yourself, especially if you're having to do what I'm doing and match this line. because then you're going to have that weird little tail sticking out over your line here. And really, to correct that, if you have those and you don't love it, go back in and get a pen that's just a couple sizes bigger than what you're actually using and redo your lines, and you'll cover up those little tails. So I'm just gonna stay in this row so I don't end up with those anymore. And Mary, while you're watching this, I hope this is the circle that you were talking about. If you're wanting a solid circle, that's where you just continue this down. So I wasn't real sure what kind of circle you were talking about. But this will show you how to do it on any kind of them that you want. Oh, see, I missed this one. I'm blaming it on the not having my glasses on. I can't tell the difference between my pen and my pencil marks on here. Sorry, I'm telling you what, my brain is just, it just doesn't work right anymore. And then if you're doing this as a tangle and you want to shade, you're going to shade it just exactly like you would for the basket weave or Huggins. I skipped some more. So you want to shade on either side where it goes under each other. But you want to do that after we do these lines and you erase. And as you can see, when I was skipping those lines, before you erase, make sure you have all of your lines covered with ink so you don't end up erasing your pencil lines. And then you have a big gap, and then you got to go and figure out how to fill that in. This is probably going to be a long video. I apologize for that. It is a kind of difficult one to do. I could do it in time-lapse, but I choose not to because I like it to be where you guys can follow along with me. I hate it when I have to watch a time-lapse one and then I have to try to stop it where I want it, or I have to go back in and find part of it, and it's going so fast I can't keep up with it. So I tend to make my videos long. just about back to the beginning. We just about made it. I'm so excited. Oops. I think I'm really gonna have to go back and make sure I've got everything. I think the city's named Serenity in the Garden, if I remember right. So, if you happen to locate one, let me know. I need a new one. Okay. Now, give it a look over and make sure you've got all those lines covered in, see, I don't, right here, I did not have those covered. Make sure you got everybody covered in pen. And then grab your eraser and take out your pencil lines. Now, if you were going to continue this as a mandala, you don't want to erase this part. I see right here, I need to fill that in a little bit. Skipped a little. Now, if you are super heavy-handed with your pencil, like somebody we all know here, it's going to be a little bit harder to get your pencil off of there. This center part doesn't matter as much if you're going to color in those little spots. So now you want to color in those little dots, and I just picked up a number 4 for that because it's just easier to color those in when you have a bigger, there's a lot of them, so you want to make sure that you have a bigger pen on. If you get these Unipens, I'm going to give a huge shout out to their brush pen. It is the best fine liner brush pen I've ever used. I just really love it. And here you can kind of fix those little tails if you want to. That one's really bad, and I don't think there's any fixing it other than my other cheat method. This is a sanded eraser. So this end is mixed heavily with sand, and this is just very, very, very finely mixed with sand. And it does remove ink. You can see that little tail right there. It will erase the ink, but you have to be super duper duper careful. If you are using like regular drawing paper, especially, you don't want to erase too hard because it does eat up the paper. Works a lot better on this watercolor paper because it's thicker, and I'm sure like a multimedia paper, it probably works pretty good on there too, but you just have to really be careful. So if you can go back over and fix those lines, it's better than to erase. That eraser will also erase watercolor paint, but you will use up a lot of your paper doing that too. So you're going to color this in all the way around. I'm just going to color part of it because I know we are getting up there in time on this video, and I want to show you how to shade this. So color those in all the way around, and then get your softest pencil that you have. A number 2 pencil works really well. This is my number 9 Graph Gear. I forget what the lead is that I have in these. And you just want to do real light, super small, just a little line on all these little spots where they go under each other. It doesn't take much, and it's just a feather touch on there, because if you get too much, then you're going to have to shade that out, and you want some white space in there as your highlight, so you do not want it to get too much in there, or you're just going to have a big mess of pencil. And this is another one of those instances where you want to make sure you have every one of these done, because if you don't, you're going to see a spot where it doesn't look right. So I'm just doing this little section right here. Now, you want to get your blending tool. Again, if you follow my videos, you know that I love these little tiny number 1s in this kind of paper, where they're very tightly packed. And I love these little sanding boards because see how messy that is? You can just take this and just spin it around on there as you're rubbing it, and it will just take the paper off. It will give you a nice new point. Then you can just clean it up with your hand, clean up your mess. It does leave like a really fine hair at the point there. That's really okay. And then just take this and blend it out. And as you can see, that little tiny amount of pencil gave me a lot to work with. The only bad thing about this particular size is that after a lot of use, it gets bendy. But they do come in a lot of sizes. They come all the way to great big huge ones. But for this tiny little area, I just want this little one because then you don't end up with it all out of your but as you can see, it does not take hardly any pencil for you to have a shading. And it's a shadow, so you don't want it to be like dark all the way out. You just want it to be dark right up against the edge. And right here, as you can see, I blended it out a little too much, and it doesn't have that darkness right up against the line. So you can always just go back in there with your pencil and add a touch of darkness if you need to. The softer lead you have on your pencil, the less amount of it you need. And see, I have some there. I guess I just missed that spot. And there is how you're going to shade it. This one needs shaded. You don't want to shade it all the way to the middle, especially on these that are underneath, because they need a highlight on them. There you go. That's how it's going to look. And you just want to do that all the way around. If you put a tangle in here, I wouldn't if I was doing a mandala, probably, because I would just connect all that. But if you do a tangle in there, you could also do some shading here. And if you do, you want this little area right there, your little V shape, to have more shadow in it. So you can put a little bit more in there than you would. And this will make this look like it is above your tangle. And as you can see, you can take that pencil all the way around. Just that little bit of pencil is gonna be enough to go around your curves there. You get a lot on your little shading stub when you use it. So that is how you do that. I missed one right there, and as you can see, that really sticks out. And it's just not really a big deal. You just go back in and shade that out. My pencil, this pencil is my shading pencil. This is the one I use for shading. In the comments, I will see what lead this is and let you know. When I shade, I get a flat spot on my lead, and it's the softest part of the lead, and that's the part I like to make sure I get whenever I try to make those little bitty lines. Oh, there you go. That's what it's going to look like all the way around finished. So I hope this helps. I hope it wasn't too confusing. If you really want to get really artsy fartsy, you could add tangles in these, but when you do, make sure that you carry that same tangle on that same piece of braiding all the way around, so that it looks like you have braided this all together. And you could do one here, and then you could do maybe another one. You could maybe even do like 3 different tangles on that and get it to really look like it's braided together. So have lots of fun. If you have to start over, it's not a big deal. Let me just make you aware that they're not all perfect. I could have continued with this one, but I have these all, as you can see, that one's way smaller than that one and that one. So I got them all crooked, so I just started over completely. We all make mistakes. it's art. That's what they make these things for, and these things for. So technically, if you want to get all technical, the Zentangle rules say no eraser. Phooey. Don't listen to that part. If you're like me and you run into a mistake, it's going to bug you. So if you're doing your art for the sake of the meditative process of Zentangle, then by all means follow those rules. And it is very meditative. It does let you just go over the mistakes and move on. And as you can see, we did that in here, some of these. However, that is not the absolute set in stone way to do to do art. That's just one method, and it's their method, and doodling has been doodling since the Stone Ages, when they doodled on their caves, and they probably messed up on those and just gave it a good and was done. So you do your art your way. You find your meditative piece in it, and don't worry about everybody else's. You guys have a good day. I hope you enjoyed this process. Thank you.